Well, happy weekend to you. Thanks so very much for hanging out with me for a couple minutes as we stay tuned into what God is doing in and through the life of St. Paul's United Methodist Church. My name is Jeremy Knight. I'm very honored to serve as the pastor here in this season. And there are lots of things going on, some things we want to make sure that you're aware of specific to this week. Beginning with this Saturday morning, our United Methodist men will be having breakfast here in this very room. I'm sitting in the fellowship hall here midweek, and they're going to be here having breakfast 8 a.m., and they extend the invitation to all of the men in our community, especially our faith community, to come and spend some time with them. Breakfast will be provided, so please come with an appetite and just an opportunity to connect and to know what God is doing in and through our men here as they get excited and start to plan for some things for the upcoming year. So please come out and support that. Reminder that the month of March, we are collecting hygiene items for our everyday offering. As a reminder, these are everyday items that you and I use and sometimes forget about, but that how we're trying to shift our mindset as to say, what are the everyday items that people in our community are in need of? And so these hygiene items that we're collecting this month will be distributed to folks in need, particularly at the shelter at Interfaith Emergency Services, which provides housing for those that are experiencing a period in their life where they are unhoused, and to the Open Arms Village, which is a wonderful, wonderful program that works with men that are transitioning either out of homelessness or out of incarceration in many ways, and are seeking to get their life back on track. So it'd be a great help to those ministries, and we are so thankful that you can bring those items. We're specifically looking for soap, toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, and deodorant. It's real simple everyday items. We hope you'll bring those this month as we collect those for people in our community. I won't go into a long description of all of our Holy Week activities, but I do want to mention it because that's coming up pretty soon, and you'll probably want to know about those in detail. So please check out the weekly newsletter that's emailed to you each Wednesday. If you don't get that, please let us know. We'd love to get that in your email inbox, and there's more descriptions there about Holy Week. And of course, we're going to talk about that more when we're together in person on Sundays. So I hope you'll make note of that. Plan to be with us during our Holy Week, which will be here before we know it. And last, before we tease a little bit about worship this week, we need you to stick around after worship this Sunday for about 15 to 20 minutes. An incredibly important meeting that will be led by a team that's been together here at St. Paul's for just a couple of months, but they've been doing a lot of important work behind the scenes. They're called our possibility thinkers. That's what our chairperson likes to call them, because they are really thinking about what are the new possibilities we have before us, specifically to meet the needs of our financial realities at St. Paul's. They're going to talk a little bit about those financial realities and about the task that they are committed to helping us think through and to help plan and to help lead us into exploring new avenues of income so that we can close the gap between what is an anticipated income based on our offerings and tithes and our operating expenses. And so we've got some work to do in this calendar year to close that gap, and these possibility thinkers are really thinking about fundraisers, and they really want to share what they're learning. But even more importantly, this meeting, they need to hear from you, and they have a question, or really two questions of you, that is really important to their work. So please stick around 15 to 20 minutes after worship this Sunday. All right, so let's talk a little bit about worship, give you a little bit possibly to think about and to chew on, and to maybe give you a little intrigue as we move into worship this week. We've been talking about and revisiting particular encounters that characters in our scriptures had with the resurrected Jesus. We've learned about or revisited the story of Mary Magdalene. We've talked about Simon Peter. We've talked about those that were traveling on the way to Emmaus and had that interaction with the resurrected Christ. We talked about Thomas and his doubt, of course, and how his encounter with Jesus forever changed him and changed all those around him. We transition a little bit this Sunday as we revisit a an encounter that many of us are aware of, many of us have heard, and it's Saul's encounter. Saul, who was a persecutor of the early church, who was a Pharisee, very much an insider, and he has this vision, he has this encounter with the resurrected Jesus while walking on the road to Damascus. And it is a very vivid and arresting and dramatic encounter. And so one of the things that is really important in this particular encounter is this is the first really meaningful encounter that we get and we read about in our scriptures of someone who encounters Jesus, but they don't encounter the physical resurrected Jesus. They encounter the spiritual indwelling of the Spirit, and Christ meets them on the road, and they have this encounter within their soul, within their understanding, within their mental capacity, within their reality that is mind-blowing, that is so transformative. Much like us, right? Many of us have some of those supernatural, we could say, experiences with Christ. And this is the first one we find in Scripture that is so meaningful and empowering, and in some ways, for some of us, can be pretty befuddling. And so we're going to look at that, possibly in a new way, and ask the questions, what is the outcome of this type of transformation? What does it do in the person of Saul? What does it do within his life and within his ethos? And what does that mean for us? What does resurrection as a vehicle for transformation, for change, what does that really mean? What did it mean for Saul, and what does it mean for us? And so I hope that maybe a little bit to get your juices flowing, to get you maybe intrigued about this particular encounter, which many of us, like I said, are aware of, but maybe we can find with new eyes and new hearts in this season as we continue the journey of Lent, seeking to encounter resurrection in a new and powerful way as we anticipate it again this upcoming Easter in 2024. All right. Grace and peace to you all. I hope you'll be able to be with us this Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Of course, here in person in Ocala. And if you can't be with us in person, we hope that you'll tune in online. We'll be streaming, of course, on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Grace and peace to you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and finish up to your spring break week.